Good evening. Oh my God, that song was so good. It was the old classic Stand By Me, and I guess they kind of jazz it up a little bit. That was fun. Well, welcome everybody to Tuesday Talks. We've got an exciting program tonight, and we have a wonderful, wonderful guest speaker we're going to introduce you to shortly. But before we do that, I want to first of all really welcome all of you that are here for the very first time. And I know that someone said, hey, come and check it out. We've learned so much in this program, the Tuesday Talks. So I got to tell you, we started this program last year. God, it was just about right now. It's been 12 months. Oh my God. Are we like celebrating our 1 year yet anniversary with Tuesday Talks? Well, what happened, you guys, for the better part of almost 30 years, my wife and I, we've been traveling around all over the country, all over the world, in fact, really coaching, mentoring, and sharing entrepreneurial secrets with everyone. And our whole, I wouldn't say our whole life for my wife and I, but I would say in the last 3 decades, we have been serial entrepreneurs, and we did well. In fact, we've done really well, and now it's really our turn to go out there and talk to people and share with them the secrets. And the secret is, just so you guys all know, there is no secret. But the fact is that wouldn't you like to get to where you want to go faster, okay? To avoid the mines on the minefield because someone else figured out how to navigate through the minefield and avoid the mines. And that's essentially what our life calling is, seems like now. Again, not that, making money is a bad thing, but we're in a point where I think we're financially stable. We're not Jeff Bezos, that's for sure, but I think we are very secure financially. And so before, I would say 30 years ago, we were very motivated about making money, but now I think we have a different calling, is to coach and mentor all of you that are here tonight how to be financially independent. So we started this during COVID, the Tuesday Talks. And since that time, we've had people from all over the country, actually now all over the world, who've been tuning in to get mentoring. And so I appreciate Arlene down there saying, so honored to get mentorship from the great John Shin. Well, Arlene, it is my privilege to be a mentor. There are many, many successful people out there, and people who've done well for themselves. I mean, really, really well, built up phenomenal businesses. And the fact that someone can actually be able to mentor somebody, that is a great privilege to do that. That means that there's a lot of factors that I'm sure people considered. What, number one is their trust, the relationship you build with people, and, their family, their character, their morals, and all these things. And so when someone says, I would love to be mentored by you, that is always a tremendous, tremendous, compliment. So I want to get started here for those of you that are here for the very first time. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. Today, we have a very special guest. Her name is Sherry Gideons, and I want you guys to understand her life story. I mean, the first time that Sherry and I met, and I was referred to her, we got connected through Yoshi. Yoshi says, John, you got to meet this lady. And I'm like, okay, we get her in our calendar. We do a Zoom call. I hear her story, and just the little bit that Sherry shared with me, I was like, oh my gosh, right? Like what would I do if I was ever in that situation? And so Sherry was telling me her story, and I hope she's going to share her story with you. It's so compelling. It's like, sometimes you always wonder, like, could this ever happen to me? You know what I mean? When something catastrophic happens, one of those moments where it just stops your heartbeat, literally, you go where you get that news and you just don't even know how to react to it. It's so shocking and so devastating. You don't know how to react. And when she told me her story, I was speechless. I was kind of like, oh my God, like what would I do if that ever happened to me? But I want you to realize that her story, she's got an awesome book. She is not just a bestseller. She's an international best-selling author. She is a keynote speaker. So she's been on major stages. She is a full-time life coach. Okay. It's not like she's doing this part-time and she works somewhere else full-time. It's interesting when I hear people say, I'm a life coach. And I'm like, what else do you do? And they're like, well, I got a full-time job at UPS. And I'm like, okay, so you work at UPS, but you're you're a part-time coach, life coach. Okay. Anyway, she is full-time. Like, this is it. She is a full-on professional life coach. Okay. But here's the thing, is that she is a professional fitness athlete. Like, she was a full-blown competitive bodybuilder. You guys ever seen those bodybuilders? Like, she was there as a professional doing that. She retired from that, guys. But now, guess what? She's been on numerous TV shows. She is the host and creator of her own show, right, called High Vibe Nation Live, and she has her own podcast. She's been featured and contributes to Fox, CBS, NBC, and ABC, and many other networks. And I'm just very, very excited to have her here tonight with all of you guys, where you guys will listen to her, see how incredible she is and how she was able to have those breakthroughs. And then we're going to do some Q&A. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sherry Gideon to our show. All right, Sherry, give her a big round of applause, everybody. Give her a big high hand raise. Give her a little high five there. There it is. There it is. Awesome. So, Sherry, welcome. Thanks for being here tonight. We know your time is precious, and we appreciate your generous time to be here with everyone. So you are no stranger to the speaking world and podcasts, and I want to just let you take it away for the next 30, 40 minutes. I'm going to turn off my video. I'm going to sit back, take notes myself, and then we'll do some Q&A at the very end.
Awesome. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen. And I just want to say, welcome everyone. I look forward to speaking with you this evening and just sharing some amazing tips and solutions that you may be able to integrate into your own life. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And I'm just going to start out with the name of my book is Mastering Ultimate Thinking: Steps for Transforming to a Powerful Life. And it shares all kinds of amazing tips to, utilize living in this topic that we're going to be talking about today, the power of using your point of attraction in the moment, or your point of power, same thing. And so how did I come to understand the moment and our point of power? Well, have you ever asked yourself the question, why am I here? What am I meant to do? What is my purpose? And why is life filled with certain challenges and setbacks and struggle and loss and painful experiences? I know all of us at some point have asked this question in our lives. And so I'm the survivor of 2 near-death experiences. And a lot of people are afraid of death or talking about the subject of death. But what I want to share with you today is what I brought back from the other side. And it's pretty incredible. And so in 1996, I began to ask those questions. And it was during a really dark time in my life. And I was struggling with, my self-worth and, is there this all there is? And is it worth living? And so I came up during the era of the pro bodybuilding world. And it was during this time that, I had been taught my whole life by my father, conditioned to believe that the only way to receive love and attention and affection was to be perfect and to take action and to achieve. And so what did I do? I went to college and I ended up getting certification after certification. And then I'm going through this world of the pro bodybuilding world at the beginning of the 80s. And this industry was really just getting its start for women. And so during this time, women in the beginning, they only needed to have, small muscular development. And then as they started to develop more shows, then they decided, okay, we want women to have more muscle, and you got to have a bigger shoulder striations, and you got to have a bigger, lat spread and bigger legs. And so I was basically making the changes that this industry required of me, and it was never good enough. And so I would get to the next show and I'd make all the changes, and it was never good enough. And so I started to develop self-esteem issues and self-confidence issues. And so I got to a point where, they were saying in the industry that all I needed to do was to use steroids. And then that would really get me the muscular development I needed. But what happened is I ended up basically falling to 78 pounds, starving myself to 78 pounds, and couldn't even see it. And what ended up happening is in 1997, I had a massive heart attack, and I ended up having the trip to the white light. And so it was in this experience that I was completely released from the body, that I was surrendered into what we could call allness. I was one with everything, the birds, the trees, the flowers, the air that we breathe. I was all things all at once. And I could feel everything that was in existence in the universe. And I knew all things. So if you could imagine that, you could call it God, the universe, our higher power, that we were one within that, all of us, all at once. And people ask me, what'd you see? And the best way to describe what I experienced was love beyond human understanding. And it was in that experience that I was shown everything over. We've been told the majority of our life that we're judged the day we die. What we actually experience is everything we've given while we're in the body. We get to re-look, but we get to re-look from the place in which you gave. So if I was your friend and I hit you, hurt you, talked behind your back, gave you love, kindness, whatever I gave, I got to feel as if I was within you. And then I was shown why we are all here. It was downloaded into my consciousness, why we are all here. And we're all here to remember who we truly are. And so basically what I ended up really being shown is that every single one of us is creating our own reality, that every single one of us is individualized gods in bodies, that we are one with this infinite source, that we are one with the quantum field, we are one with the universe. We are not separate from us or from it, and it lives through us, within us, but we can only access this power to the degree we allow, to the degree we get out of the way. And so I bring up Raymond Moody Jr. onto the screen because, really near-death experiences got their start scientifically in 1975. And he was a philosopher, and he had turned psychologist, and he published the book Life After Life. And he had done a ton of scientific research, that was all built on consciousness. So he talks about how when we leave the body, we are all still conscious. And so he says that the mind, the soul, call it what you will, may exist in some non-material form, independent but closely connected to the brain, and that near-death experiences are able to provide evidence of it. And he went on to research numerous near-death experiences over the years, thousands of near-death experiences. And what he came to realize is that, we've heard that sometimes people say, near-death experiences are hallucinations. But he says they're not. They're not hallucinations of a dying brain, but evidence that the soul continues to progress after its separation from the body. And so that is exactly what I experienced. Let me move it to the next slide. And so, what do I mean when I say, what did I bring back from this near-death experience? And what did it show me? As I stated earlier, we all are here to remember the power that we are. We all have the same powers as what we could call God, the universe, the quantum field, infinite intelligence. We have the same powers. And I know that scares people sometimes, but that's what was shown to me. I was shown all of my purposes, shown that I was here to help people of all ages tap in to their greatness, tap into the power that they are, and to live in the moment and to access this power in the moment. So as I said, we're all individualized gods in bodies. We create our own reality. We're not separate from the infinite source, and that we have all the powers as the universe in every moment of now. And we are here to remember the power that we are. And so I want to talk about the concept of time. And so there's only right now, the present moment. And your body is present, is your mind. How many of us, we constantly live in the past, or we're recreating the future? And I know for myself, it took many, many years of not going back to old events. One of the best examples of that is every year we set the intention that we're going to start a new weight loss, regimen on January 1st. And what do? We go back to an old experience in the past of when we attempted to lose weight. And what do? We conjured up those feelings of, oh man, it sucked going without, and it was deprivation, and I had to go to the gym, and it was so much work. And we don't realize that when we're going to the past, what we're doing is we're bringing those emotions and that experience into the present moment. And this is where we continue to recreate the past and pull it into the present. Move my little thing over here so I can, I have to move my little screen where I'm seeing myself over. All right, so what does the connection between subconscious beliefs, past letdowns, thoughts, and vibrations? So once again, and using Dr. Fannin as an example from last week, is many researchers have determined for a long time that thoughts and behaviors affect the rhythms in your body. And for example, anxious thoughts trigger the release of stress hormones, and that stimulates your heart rate to speed up or slow down. And the sound vibrations of things like music, they affect thoughts, emotions, and body systems. And it's this vibrational energy that is in existence all the time. And when we think about our behaviors and our thoughts, what happens is they can also alter smaller rhythms. And people believe it's possible to speed up or slow down the vibrations that occur on a cellular level and on an atomic level. And it's by changing things like our thoughts and our behaviors and even our environment and surroundings. It's by changing those vibrations that ripple outward, and they affect our mental state and our physical health. And when we think, that's called a vibration. We feel a feeling, and it responds to our thought. And we must become aware of our thoughts, because when we become aware of our thoughts and those beliefs that we hold, we start to see how vibration has a huge effect and how it works. And when we realize that it's how it corresponds to our thoughts and our beliefs, that we can start working with this energy, this source of energy, to either create positive or negative. And we have the choice. We have volition. We have dominion in this moment. And they say that we have about 50,000 thoughts per day. And we don't realize that around 10,000 of those thoughts per day are negative thoughts. And so when we ask the question, why are the experiences showing up? They're showing up because of your habit of thought. And we have the power. We have the power to change that. So if you can't control your mind, everything and everyone else will. I keep moving my mouse and it it goes all over the place. Oh my gosh. So anyway, here's where intelligence takes a really important position in the process. As we use this power in the quantum field for good, then what comes back to us is good. You know, I had asked this question of someone recently, and basically I was saying, okay, so if we are the source, if we are individualized expressions of this source, and everything we think has an outcome based on the amount of power we give that thought. So if we think a thought for 16 seconds and we continue to think that thought in a variety of different directions, what's happening is by 68 seconds, we've increased the energy, we've increased the vibration. So we're pulling back into our experience like vibrations. And so when we talk about observing, in every moment of right now, we are putting out a vibration, we are putting out a feeling, and we're pulling back into our moments what we are, a mirror of what we are. So an example of that would be like two stones in the water next to each other and the ripples interact. Or it's like riding a bicycle, and the more you practice, the more success you have and the less failure. And so let's move in to talking about how we use the point of power and how do we do something about it. And so we're living energy. We're all energy. And our body is composed of particles. And each of those are in constant movement. My husband's in here making all kinds of noise. Sorry about that. So like everything in the universe, we're vibrating and creating all the time. And that has to do with our beliefs and our thoughts and our emotions. They are the mechanism by which the power of this energy responds to us. So all that we have to do is be aware of what we're doing right now in this very instance. The law of cause and effect. Action and reaction is always working. And what we give out, we pull back. So every day we wish for our lives to be different. The problem is that the ego focuses on what we don't have. And we do this, and when we do this, what's happening is we're giving out resistance. We're giving out that resistance into the field. And the life we really seek, we're pushing it away from ourselves. We're pushing it away, and that's the contrast. We don't realize, as I said earlier, that we have all these unconscious, conditioned beliefs that are going on under the surface. And so one of the ways that I talk about how to really change that is to become the observer. So, and you become the observer without attachment. Because remember what I said earlier, it's emotions coupled with thought that is creating that vibration, and it's increasing the power of that vibration. And so if you're putting that out in the present moment, you're pulling back what you are. You're pulling back a like piece of yourself. And it's that mirror in front of you that's saying, hey, you, look at you. This is a piece of you, whether you're conscious of it or unconscious of it. And so one of the ways that I work with people on really building little pockets of time, because it takes baby steps. I mean, these are all kinds of ways of being and living that we're conditioned, and they're part of us that a lot of times we don't even know about. So we become the observer of what's in front of us. Let's say it's the ticket. Let's say it's, I'll use an example. I had a second near death in 2004, a week after the delivery of twins. And in this experience, I went to the white light again. And in this experience, I was told, you know who you are. You know the power of who you are. You know what you're meant to share with the world. And you're to go back and share the moment, the power of the moment, our point of attraction, our point of power, and how we can all access this power in the moment. So I come back into the body, and the doctor comes into ICU, and he basically tells me that I have 37% heart function, that I developed the last 2 weeks of my, right before I was delivering, a very rare heart disease that they didn't know about. They call it cardiomyopathy. They say 1 in 20,000 women have the chance of developing this. Now, I didn't say I had these twins right before I was 40. And so he comes back and he says, you only have 37% heart function. You're going to be on your back for 6 months waiting for a heart transplant, and you'll never exercise again. Well, I had already spent from 1997 to 2004 learning to master living in the moment. Now, I didn't tell you earlier that one of the things that had been said to me in this experience on the other side the first time was that I never had to worry, that all the right people would show up at the right moment to help me move forward. That's not only for me. That's for each and every one of you as well. Remember, I said you attract what you are. You pull back into your moments a piece of yourself. So we could call it good or bad. But what it's doing is that experience was chosen by us, once again, to help us remember the power that we are, the access and the abilities we have in the moment to use these universal principles, to use this universal power in a way that serves us rather than not serving us. So going back to the observer. So when these situations show up, these environmental experiences, when they show up, instead of attaching to the same energy that shows up, what do? I become the observer without emotional attachment. I look at what is this showing me, whether it's pain, suffering, the ticket, a bill, a car crash, whatever it may be, I observe it and I thank it for revealing to me something that I obviously need to learn. Everything is happening for us, not against us. So it's here for me. It's here for you to choose, for you to have dominion in the moment, to choose what you really want. And Dr. Fannin talked about this last week when we talk about, lower vibrations, anger, blame, hatred, judgment, choosing to move up on our point of attraction, choosing to move up on that higher vibration. And one of the ways that I help people do that is by asking a very simple question. What is it I really want? How do I do something about it? And one of the things that Socrates said is he says, the secret of change is to focus all of your energy, not on fighting the old, but on building the new. So let's talk about for a second, how do I do something about it? By developing awareness in the moment. You can't change what you're not aware of. And it's in building that muscle of awareness in the present moment that you begin to get stronger, you get better. And so I always say, when you go to the gym, what happens for the first time? You're weak, and it sucks sometimes because you might only be able to lift a 3-pound weight or a 5-pound weight or a 10-pound weight. But as you keep going back, what happens? You build that muscle, and that muscle gets stronger. And the same thing happens when you learn to be aware of your beliefs and your emotions in the moment. You learn to observe with detachment. And when you begin to detach, you begin to intend and put more attention on the beliefs and the emotions that you really want. And you begin to broaden your awareness. And so one of the ways of reaching up to a higher vibration would be something as simple as thinking of joy for myself. When I very first see my newborn baby, or you very first see your newborn baby, if you're dads. And what's that feeling that you feel? It's a feeling that is one you can't describe. It's just pure joy. Those are the kind of things that you can milk. You can milk a previous experience. You can pull joy in the moment from an old experience. I have an experience of when I was a child, we used to go every year to Lake Tahoe. And there was this place called Zephyr Cove, and the water was crystal clear, and we'd go there. And I could see my smile as big as a Cheshire cat. And I would be so happy and so excited. I can still milk in the moment that experience when I was a child and pull that vibration of joy in the moment. Same thing with the bodybuilding industry. When I'd get ready to do a show, what had happened? I'd end up thinking about that show every single day for 3 months. I would see myself in this beautiful, great big, gorgeous green bikini with all these rhinestones. And I'd see myself on the stage holding a trophy up in the air, and the promoters of the show holding my arms up in the air. And I'd see myself winning every single time. And do you know that the day that I would win, my husband would take a picture, and the picture he took was what I saw in my own head. So going back to the second near death, they tell me I'm going to die within 6 months without a heart transplant. I said to the doctor, I said, no, you know what? I'm going to heal to 100%. And he says, well, that's airy-fairy thinking, and we need to look at this realistically, and you're a very sick woman. You need a heart transplant. And I said to him, I'm going to show you what's possible. I'm going to show you how every single one of us can heal anything. And so what did I do? I did not attach to the appearance. What I did was I immediately saw from the place that I was already 100% healed. I would be every day from the place that I was 100% healed. They said, no exercise, you'll never exercise. What did I do? I exercised because I dismissed the appearance, because what was demonstrating in my life from this heart attack, the second heart attack, was dis-ease in my body. And so once again, vibrations. Somewhere in me, I had drained my cup. I had given away my life force, my energy, and my cup was drained and it showed up as dis-ease in the body. And so what I did is every single day, I would go into my imagination and I would imagine my heart pumping perfectly. I would imagine every cell in my body flowing with blood, oxygen pumping to my heart, to all my cells, to my organs. I would imagine every day when people wanted to talk to me about sickness or disease or illness or fear, I'd always say, how about we talk about how I'm going to win, how I'm going to outweigh the odds, how I'm going to persevere. And so these are some of the examples of how we can embrace living in the moment. But I want to emphasize from when you have a desire, you must think from the place that it's already so. So if it's money, how would you feel if you were very wealthy today? Would you be a big old smile? Would you feel light and airy? You know, one of the things I talk about quite a bit too is shift your thinking around money and wealth and financial freedom and open yourself up to the idea of abundance. Remember, it's all vibration. So abundance is everywhere present. It's in the birds, the trees, the flowers. You walk outside and ooh, you can smell the air. Ooh, you can smell, the outdoors. You can see trees everywhere, flowers everywhere, people everywhere. Abundance is everywhere present. So when you open yourself up and shift your idea of abundance, what you begin to pull in to your now moments is more of everything that vibrates from abundance, including money, including greenback. So I want to talk about understanding the basic laws of the universe. And when I talked about overcoming my second heart attack, by the way, every time I would go to my doctor's office, he would say, you're amazing, you're crazy, you're silly, you're playful. And I'd always go in there and I'd say, I'm going to show you what I can do, because I wanted him to realize it was possible for himself as well, that I wasn't any different, that it was possible for him too. And so every time I went in, I would always tell him, I said, you know what? I'm exercising every single day. I'm seeing myself whole, perfect, and complete, healthy. 3 years later, I walk in the doctor's office and he says to me, you're the most amazing woman I've ever met in my life. He says, you have gone from 37% heart function to 100%. He says, not only are you 100% healed, but your medication is now harming you rather than helping you. And we're going to wean you off of all your medication over the next 2 weeks. And that's what they did. That was in 2007. Today, they can't show signs of me having had any heart attacks. I've had 2. And they can't show signs of me having had any. And I don't have, once again, anything that you don't have yourself. What I've done is I've used the laws of nature. I've used these universal principles that are in existence, and they always have been, and they always will be. And so one of the things that was said to me very specifically on the other side was that we are all one. The law of oneness. There's no separation. I don't care what your skin color is, if you're Asian, if you're African American, if you're white, if you're, whatever. We are all one. And the law of oneness is the MVP of all the universal laws. And it's this law that states that we are all connected in creation, and every single atom inside of you is connected in some way, shape, and form to the rest of the universe, and it moves through you. And this means that everything we do has a ripple effect, and it has an impact on the whole. So when I grow as a person, when you grow as a person, When every single one of us grows as a person, guess what? It affects the entire universe. The entire universe grows. And I know this sounds crazy, but it's never just ourselves. And so to use this principle, all we have to do is simply remember that our actions both matter and make a difference. All right, so now we're going to talk about the law of vibration. And I know if you were on the call last week, you listened to my business partner, Dr. Jeffrey Fannin, who's the most amazing neuroscientist, talk about the law of vibration. And so the law of vibration, it means everything in the universe has a frequency and a vibration, and nothing ever stands still. And everything is always either being pushed or pulled towards something. And so any items of a similar vibration are always attracted to each other. So to use this law of manifestation for your desires, what you really need to do is, as I said before, develop that awareness to match your vibration with what you really want in the moment. And so continue to ask yourself that question. In any moment that something is showing up that doesn't feel good, here's a way you can develop that muscle. So what is it you really want? Or so what is it I really want? What I really want is to be in a moment right here, right now, with a group of people like you, sharing these tips and solutions and ways of being that serve me. Woo! As I say that, as I'm clear about that, as I'm intentional about that, I can feel those vibrations moving through my entire body. Now, let me go deeper. What I really want is to be traveling all over the world, helping people of all ages discover their own greatness. Woo! I can feel that vibration saying, yes, yes, that's true. And then I go deeper. What I really want is to go to the gas station, the grocery store, or wherever I am placed in the moment, that I can lift somebody up and help them tap in, turn on, and tune in to who they really are. And I can help them find solutions and tips in their own life. That's what I really want to do. And this is the same for each of you. As you get clearer and clearer about what you really want, you're putting that out, that vibration, that feeling, and you're pulling more of that into your now moments. So all of you, I'm sure, have heard of the law of attraction. And so this is the law in action. And so many people get scared when they think, oh my God, what if I think bad thoughts, and I don't want, these bad thoughts or these low vibrations, to destroy my life. I don't want all this. I don't want bad stuff to show up in my life. And so the law is never here to punish us. It's always here for us. And so what we have to realize is the clearer we get of our mindset, our self-worth, that we're deserving, that we're worthy, the clearer we get, the more that match shows up in our life, the more the outcome that shows up in our daily moments begins to fully demonstrate in our lives. And so the moment is only right now. It's all there is. And when we go in our memory to the past, or we go to the future, we are out of the present moment. The moment is all there will ever be right now. And so it's so important for each of us to really practice developing that. And I want to share another slide here to give you a better idea of how this works. This is called the creative medium. And I'm a licensed spiritual practitioner with Center for Spiritual Living, which is all about Ernest Holmes. Ernest Holmes lived during the 1800s with the Transcendentalists. We think about Emerson and Thoreau. And so this is called the creative medium. And so if you look at the top, the seed, the universal spirit, universal mind, love, conscious mind, the absolute first cause. You can call it God, you can call it the quantum field, you can call it the universe. This is the masculine. And if you look at the V is the passage of spirit into form, and all forms from one source. And imagine that V like the womb of a woman. So what happens when you plant the seed in the womb of a woman? We have over here the soil, universal subject mind, creative medium, the soil, soul, law. This is the law of attraction, log on the wheel. And it's just saying yes, yes, yes to what you're planting in the womb. What you're planting in the center here, the law, is the divine feminine. You know, when you plant a seed, what happens? That eventually it's going to come out to effect, and it's going to do what? It's going to bear fruit. It's the plant, its effect, its body, its form, its condition, its manifested reality. And so I want to show you another slide here that is just a little bit clearer so you can get a better idea of. So here we are again, the top is the absolute. And look at all of these different forms of the seed. First cause, the great I am, conscious mind, purposefulness, self-propelling, self-existence, volition, choice, life, truth, power, choice, will, free spirit. You can get an idea, conscious idea, omniscience, omnipotence, omnipresent, reason, deductive only. It's the masculine form of creation, and it's active. So the seed, once again, this top is the seed, and it drops in to the womb, the divine feminine, the law of attraction. And we see what? The soul, the creative medium. This is where subjective unchoosing, where we get both good and bad, unconscious limited beliefs, subconscious mind, immaterial, karma, known as the servant of the eternal spirit throughout the ages. And now we go again into the very bottom, which is effect, manifestation, body, effect, form, objective, conditions, results, time, space, things, illusion of matter. So many of us ask the question, why do these bad things always happen to me? It's an illusion of the mind. We create our own reality. So it's our own conditioned beliefs, our own ways of being in the present moment of today that we're giving power to. And so when we talk about we have been programmed and conditioned for stress, anxiety, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving, lack, it's now time to plant new seeds. You get the answers by using the universal laws. And it's through the broadening of your awareness that will cause what you are seeking to build new neural pathways. And you cannot help but be successful. And what does Rumi say? what you're seeking is already seeking you. And so every single one of us has the ability to change our thinking and our ways of being in today. And so I ask all of you to make that commitment in yourself, to develop this awareness, to develop your point of power, your point of attraction in today, in the now. And make the decision, set the intention from here on that you're going to begin to develop your awareness. And that when you are in those moments that something just sucks, you become the observer. And you pull back and you allow yourself to choose what you really want and to build that muscle and to build that strength and to keep creating more joy, more happiness, more love in today, more oneness in today. Because every single thing that you see out there is the face of God, is the face of the universe, is the quantum mirroring back to you, you.
All right. Well, you guys, let's give Sherry a big round of applause. That was some deep, profound message, right? Some of you guys are like, I don't even know what some of those words were, and you're having a hard time because like some of the language, it was so deep. I mean, I see you guys were saying thank you, and some of you are like, oh my God. It's so deep. Let me put this in a little different context. Because some of you guys, the language may have been like over your head, because let me just tell you, maybe you've never had that near death or death experience. And many of you guys know I brought in Gideons Shepherd years ago. Do you guys remember? She was the Olympic, she was going to make the Australian Olympic team and all that. While she was working out, she got hit by a truck, and she talks about how she was in the hospital and her body. Do you guys remember that? How she said her spiritual body left, the spirit of her body left, and she could see herself laying in the hospital bed. Do you guys remember that? Yep. And some of you guys don't remember because you weren't around then. But let me just tell you something. So if you guys are like, what is this whole quantum thing? What does that mean? Like, you're like, what does quantum mean? Mm-hmm. So let me give you guys an example of what we're talking about. This past weekend, you guys, I know I'm going super overtime and we may not have time for Q&A, but I want you guys to know this past weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, my son Matt and I, we went up to the boonies, literally off grid with some amazing people. And I trained with 4 Navy SEALs, a recon guy from the Army, and from the Marines, they call him Force Recon. Actually, it was something else above a Force Recon. I forgot what he was called. Harmac or something like that, right? And so I'm with 6 special forces guys. And I want to know their mind and what they do and how they're training. So we go, it's now like literally 11 o'clock p.m. at night. We're in the middle of no man's land in the mountains somewhere. We're out there and it's pitch dark. And so I want you to realize that one of the Navy SEAL guys took a flashlight, puts up a flashlight, and he aims it, and it was on. Like you can see the little red light, and it was on. And he says, "Can you guys all see that?" And we all looked at him and we're like, "Are you kidding? Like there's nothing coming out of that light." And he goes, "Oh no, there's light coming out." Yep. We go, "What is it?" And he goes, "It's an infrared light." So we're like, okay. So then we were wearing these helmets, and you guys have seen like those action movies where they put those goggles down and get night vision. Well, those night vision technology have infrared technology, so you can see what you can't see. Does that make sense, right? So when they're talking about the quantum world, some of you guys are like, we can't see it with the human eye. Does that make sense? It's at another level. And when we talk about the magnetic field, you guys know when I say the magnetic field, you won't be able to, you can't see with the naked eye the magnetic field, but what you can see is if you throw some iron particles at it, you'd see the magnetic field. Do you guys understand? And so this is why a lot of you guys don't see your true potential. And it's because no one's really had a conversation like this before with you. You know, you just kind of been winging it, you know, not really understanding who you really are. What is your purpose, that vibration, that higher law? When you read the book, Think and Grow Rich, he talks about the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and in that middle, do you guys with me on that? So it goes subconscious, or conscious, subconscious, and in the middle, that nucleus is something called infinite intelligence. And a lot of you guys are like, infinite intelligence? Like, this is like some Jedi stuff. But I want you to realize how powerful this is, because once you guys understand this language, and this might be the first time you're understanding all this stuff, that was some deep stuff there, just so you guys all know. But you got to understand the power of the mind and the vibrations and everything else, because it's all connected, just so you all know. And I loved how Sherry said, everything is, we are one. We truly are one. I mean, it's very powerful to see. And if you don't believe that, you can see what would happen in the wilderness. If you start to go out there and start killing off animals, you know what happens to their ecosystem? The whole ecosystem falls apart. Like, we need all that, you know, for that ecosystem to work and the human race to work. We need this stuff. So it was very, very deep. And I know you guys have a bunch of questions, but we're out of time. But I want you to know, like, hey, it's, you know, you're going to have a chance to meet Sherry and ask her more questions. She is on Instagram. You can follow her. But I want you guys to know, I just got to make some quick announcements here for you guys. Whoa, what just happened? Let's see here. So we got some upcoming events here. This coming Thursday, we have Adriana Vildasolo, who's one of the co-founders of a company called Simplicity, and talking about solar panels and how that can be a part of your overall financial portfolio and how that can help you. We're also, this coming Saturday, what is going on here? This coming Saturday is my Shintastic Saturday show. I've got a great program. Make sure you guys register by clicking that QR code, and then you can register. And then, of course, next week on Wednesday, March 10th, we've got my orientation for those of you who want to get started and know how to get started quickly. I've got this orientation that I'm going to be training on. And don't forget the movie, March 26th, we're going to have the special VIP movie screening. And so you want to register for that right away. And don't forget, April 10th and 11th, okay? You guys need to register for this. I like what some of the people were saying in the chat. This will be, I guarantee you guys, this will be a sold out event. We'll have 1,000 people attending this event. Success Magazine is going to be putting this out on their magazine, on their platform. And just so you know, I'd like to have more of our people on there rather than the world. So this is a chance to get your people registered. We'll give you a couple more days to get everybody registered. And then we're going to start the online ad campaigns on Instagram and Facebook. And then by that time, hopefully all the tickets are sold out. But in any case, just want you to know this will be the very first virtual event. And not only the first virtual event, but it'll be the first collaboration of Think and Grow Rich and Success Magazine. Guys, I need your help, all right? Like I've been asking you guys over and over and over. I don't charge you guys for my shows. I don't charge you guys to bring people to my show. I don't charge you guys for my time when you guys call and text and email. I personally respond to all those things. All I ask you guys to do is go and buy my book, right? It's not like I get rich over that. Why? Because all the proceeds go back to the Napoleon Hill Foundation. But here's what I would appreciate is your comments, your reviews on it. If it's the good review, if it's a bad review, keep it to yourself, okay? But if it's a good one, go and post it on there, for crying out loud, and help me out, okay? There's a lot of things I could do with money, but I can't buy reviews on Amazon, all right? Other than that, please get with the person who invited you. Get more details. I would love to connect with you as well and see what we can do to help you grow. This is my contact information. If you want to get a hold of me, my mobile phone is right there. My email is right there. If you want to go back and see any of our other past shows, I've got a YouTube channel. I'm also on Facebook, on Instagram as well. And by the way, get my book. Go get Sherry's book. It's available on Amazon as well. And we appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys go get your tickets, and I will just send you guys off, and I'm going to let Sherry say the final words, and we'll say good night to all of you guys. So Sherry, any final words that you'd like to share with everyone?
I just want everybody to know that my heart to yours, I want every one of you to experience the life you were born to live. You are all worthy and deserving of it. And I look forward to being on the upcoming Think and Grow Rich Legacy Tours. So Dr. Fannin and I will be on that together. So everybody go out and have an amazing rest of the week.
Awesome. Thank you, Sherry. Thanks for being here. Powerful, awesome message. Dr. Fannin, I know you're in the background somewhere listening and watching. So thanks for being here as well. Want to say good night to everybody. We'll see you on our next show. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.